Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Constant Taylor. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, and they're going to share some very powerful information with us. So, if you're looking to increase your personal and professional effectiveness, then you've come to the right place. Our special guest today is Ashley Koff. Ashley has been speaking professionally for over 15 years. The content that Ashley primarily speaks on is better health and nutrition trends. Ashley has spoken primarily nationally, but has also spoken internationally as well. She's based out of Stuart, Florida. She has 2 books. One is called Mom Energy, and the other is Recipes for IBS. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And I suppose probably one of the best reasons to explain why I talk on those topics is I'm a licensed dietitian, a registered dietitian. So I left the world of advertising food products, which is where I started my career, and then decided to go back and get a degree and a medical license, which is really what separates a dietitian from a nutritionist, so that I could work both individually with people and also be a part of the medical system. So one of the reasons I talk on the topic of better health, as well as on health trends and nutrition trends and food choices, is because I am a registered dietitian. So it's also what I do in my day job, working with patients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's I'm very interested to go back to the beginning to see what inspired you, what motivated you to get into the health industry.
Sure. I think that, I probably preceded it a little bit, the trend of, I think today people are really interested in their nutrition. Definitely, I feel like everybody is interested in better health, whether you have it or whether you want it. If you have it, you want to keep it, and if you don't have it, you want to get it. And I fundamentally know and had learned firsthand that better nutrition was such a core part of better health. And as the daughter of a surgeon who, a little bit different in his field, he's a pediatric surgeon, but even growing up, he used to comment that if kids ate better, he probably would have to operate less. And it's funny to hear a surgeon talk about operating less, but he was very motivated to do that. So I think that was always sort of on my radar, and also looking for solutions, my own solutions to my personal health issues guided me on that path. And then I mentioned before that I ended up working in advertising right after college. I always wanted to be Angela Bauer from Who's the Boss.
Okay.
And I ended up going, and my client were global food companies. And I think at that point, that was really my first introduction to a registered dietitian. But interestingly, in the U.S., those dietitians I was meeting with, we were primarily having legal conversations or marketing conversations about what we could say. And then through my work, I started actually going globally and talking to dietitians and those working on the nutrition side of food products on the international level, again, for the same companies. And they were really looking at how to either improve the food quality or how to communicate the nutrients of certain foods. And so that was really, ahead of where we were at the time in the U.S., but I found something very compelling about it. And I became really passionate about working with people to help them understand at the time that their nutrition played a role in that desire for better health and in achieving their personal health goals. That's changed a lot today. I don't know, I think for anyone listening, I don't encounter people who don't believe or don't know that what they eat or drink impacts their health. Even if what they're eating and drinking is not good, they still know. It's kind of like a smoker may still smoke, but knows that smoking probably isn't good for them, right? And so what we know that fact today. And so about 2.5 years ago, I realized that the issue was no longer telling people that their nutrition mattered for their health or to get better health, but it was actually about the fact that we're so confused, that we're overwhelmed with nutrition information. You can't go to the gas station, go to a hotel, go even buy a car without getting nutrition information. And so this overwhelming nature is actually, unfortunately, stressing us out, which is a huge health deducto, but it's also really rendering a lot of people, and I see them in my practice every day, not just stressed out about it, but really frustrated because people are making an effort to improve the quality of what they're eating or to try to make the right food choices for that better health. And when they don't get the better health results, they're frustrated, and I don't blame them. So today, where I am and where you'll see it, my website and all of the tools and resources that I offer is I fundamentally believe there is something called Better Nutrition. I'm here to tell everyone what it is. I love research. I love science. We actually don't need any more of it. We will continue to get it, and I continue to be inspired to understand how certain things work. But we have the information that we need. We know what Better Nutrition is. We just have to find a simple way. We have to do what I call Better Nutrition Simplified. So that it doesn't feel overcomplicated, like things like activated charcoal or aloe water or, how many times in a day do I eat and all of these things. Or on the flip side, oversimplified, which is somebody saying that their ginger ale contains ginger, which is anti-inflammatory, but it's, got a whole bunch of sugar in there and it may only have ginger flavor and not actually have ginger.
Right.
So my whole goal is to help people find that sweet spot, that Better Nutrition Simplified. And so everything that I'm doing, whether it's speaking, whether it's the resources that I offer for free or the consults that I offer through my website, all of that is to help people get Better Nutrition Simplified because I believe one core thing, and that is that I chose to make this my career. I chose to get the graduate degree. I chose to go and meet with people all around the world and to understand where our food comes from, et cetera. But I also don't think it's fair for us to demand for other people or to set the expectation that you have to have that level of education or information to just have better nutrition for better health. So I know it's simple. It's not easy. It requires you to be an active participant and to make right choices, but there is something that is Better Nutrition Simplified. So I'm here to bring that to people. So that leads me to speaking. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, the topic that you speak on is very near and dear to my heart. I've been a vegetarian since 2003 when my father passed away of a massive heart attack, and I started researching different things for better health and natural health. So, and it's a matter of now where I do have the information. I know that it's good to eat right, but it's about going down into those deeper levels and okay, what should I eat? How often should I eat these types of things? And it sounds like that's the kind of information that you provide.
Absolutely. I mean, the question that I get most often is what to eat, right? And so I throw it back to people and I say, well, actually, a huge part of that is what not to eat, right? Mm-hmm. So I love chemistry. I love my chemistry lab projects. I was in the chemistry lab and learned to, blow things up or change things color or, you learn how water and oil don't mix unless in a chemistry lab they're emulsified, with another procedure. So I love all of that. Our body doesn't want chemistry lab projects. Our body really, if you think about your body like you are as an employee or if you work for yourself like myself, how you are in your workspace. You really want to rise to the top. You have with you the knowledge and the interest and the capacity to work efficiently, to work effectively, to be the best at your game, to break down complex things into simple things, but at the end of the day, what you want is things to come in a manageable way and ideally in the way that you recognize them. And the body, that's what the body is looking for. So the body doesn't want to take something that's a square that needs to go into, a circular peg and try to figure out how it can shave pieces off or how it opens that peg or, so it'll either pass it along and not give it what it needs or it'll try to stuff it in there and it'll get frustrated and irritated and, all of these things. And so today we have a lot of foods that, so something can be called, you were talking about vegetarian. I love being a vegetarian. First of all, I have a lot of quote unquote vegetarian clients who come in and show me their food journals and they're not eating any vegetables. So we have to have that conversation.
Right.
I know that chocolate is a food group and that chocolate can be vegetarian, but it's not a vegetable,
Right.
So we go through things like that. But the other part of it is, in the last 30 years, we've had genetic modification. And so what you have with GMOs in the food space is you have a soybean who's in the seed state, its DNA has been genetically altered, right, manipulated to create an outcome. And we can talk till we're blue in the face about that outcome. But I do not agree that edamame or that soybean that's grown from that genetically altered seed can be called a soybean the same way a soybean that wasn't genetically altered at the DNA level in the seed. And in the same way, right? Or the same thing with corn, or the same thing with beet sugar, et cetera. So part of the problem that we have today, and it's why I have 4 pillars. It's all you need to ever know about nutrition can be broken down into 4 pillars. And it also fits on one page on my website. So if you go to Ashley Koff RD and you just go to Get the Plan, you will see a 1-page PDF, and that's literally all the information that you need to know. And those 4 pillars are quality, which is what we're talking about right here. How easy is it going to be for your body to recognize what it is getting, right? The second one is going to be the quantity. How much are you consuming at one time? And the great part about that, I know quantity really lost in the marketing and advertising game. When it became called portion control, all of a sudden, all of us that are like, you will not control me or tell me how much I can have, I call it my bratty 2-year-old comes out. And portion control. But if you think about quantity the opposite way and you say, you know what, I love ice cream, I like wine, I like cheese, I want to be able to have these things. And if they are good quality, if I manage for the amount that I'm having, with the idea that none of us likes to walk into our office or into our work with a day that has things overflowing off of our desk and is tucked away underneath things and it's just like to do, all these lists. Mm-hmm. Instead, if you walk in and you have 3 or 4 to-dos and then you finish them and a couple hours later you get more to-dos, mm-hmm. then it's more manageable and energetically we're less irritated and we less stress, et cetera. So the quantity piece is going to be really important. And then I teach people it's not about the calories in and the calories out. It really is about what we call the nutrient balance. So your body uses calories from carbohydrates different than proteins, than fats. Or even if they use them in a similar way, they're complementary. And then also I was mentioning our vegetables before, your non-starchy vegetables, all of those are nutrient groups, and we want to try to bring all of them in at every eating occasion or pit stop. And the reason for that is that we need all those, we need quick energy from our carbohydrates. We need lasting energy from our proteins and fats. We need cleanup work from our vegetables, et cetera. And then the final pillar is that frequency. It's where I just use the term pit stop. And I like to tell people, you know what, your body is designed like a race car. So the thing that you want to think about is you want to pit stop throughout the day instead of going to a gas station, filling up and letting it run to empty. That's when we lose because the body's overwhelmed, it's stressed out, it's not working that efficiently. That's where we get fat storage, that's where we get inflammation, that's where we get chronic stress. So all of those, again, 4 pillars, and I literally in 3 minutes just explained everything that you need to know about better nutrition. Now, it won't take you just hearing it once. I totally get that we have to practice it and we have to put it in place. But what I love to share with people when I'm speaking is not just how simple that is, and unfortunately that is not what is communicated in commercials or, on the front packages of foods or in magazines and that sort of thing, because it wouldn't be new news all the time. It wouldn't be sold, that kind of a thing. But there's that information. And then the best part about it is, for anyone that's ever walked through my door or sat in one of my lectures, the key thing is nobody is doing all of this wrong. I have had people who are so sick or who are so off their game nutritionally. And even for them, when we've sat down and gone through their food journal of what they're doing or what they're not messed up in every one of these areas. The other thing that I like to focus on is look at what you're doing well or look at what you're doing okay on. And let's just for a moment just accept that, hey, I'm not a full mess, right? I'm not doing all of this wrong. And let's reward ourselves and say, you know what, I'm doing a lot of this right. But then what I hone in on is what's the one area that consistently that you're having an issue with. So for example, sometimes I'll talk to people about how maybe their weekdays and their weekend days, or if you're like me and you travel all the time, your home days and your travel days, they may have very different profiles. That's why I always ask people to give me nutrition journals for those different days. So I know for me that actually, frequency or the quality are bigger issues for me when I'm traveling than they are when I'm at home. And quantity actually may be a bigger issue for me at home because if I make something and I'm making it from rock star ingredients and I love the way that it tastes and I'm home, it may be harder for me to say, oh, I need to not have as much at one time. I can go ahead and have something in 3 hours. So I'll take a look at where the sweet spot may be and then also layer on certainly what's going on for you from a health standpoint. If we have any goals that we're trying to address or can address either if we're taking medications, what's going on there, and maybe what's being thrown out of balance from those medications. So how do we correct for that with the proper nutrition? So all of those are different things that I speak on. And then one topic that seems to be rearing its head these days, I don't know if you've encountered, but a lot of people then say to me, okay, then what about all of these supplements, right? What about these? Should I get it from a food? Do you have that? Is that something as a vegetarian?
Absolutely. And my my research has shown that 90% of the supplements out there, if not more, are not good. So yeah, I've got my source that I specifically get my supplements from.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting number. I actually don't agree with it. Everybody can do research these days to get numbers that they want. But
Right.
What I will say is the reason I don't agree with that is that you can't categorically say that about supplements across the board. So I might look at certain herbs and I might say, 97.7% of them are not worth you taking, right? Or I might look at something like vitamin D and I might say, it almost all comes from the same place. We desperately need it. And I'm pretty much open to, I would say only 10% of the vitamin Ds out there are really a problem, right? So I think first of all we have to look, on a category by category basis. But I think the primary issue there, and it's a language one, is we have to remember that it's the term supplement, right? So it's supplemental to a better health diet, to a better nutrition plan.
Right.
So I can't look at my supplement and say, I'm not going to eat broccoli, I am going to take this supplement. Now, I gave that example for a very specific reason. When I eat broccoli, which it's my favorite food, I happen to eat it almost every day. When I eat broccoli, I can cook it, I can eat it raw, I can roast it, I can juice it, I can do a lot of things to it. And there are a lot of nutrients that are in broccoli. But one of the main reasons I love broccoli, it has this nutrient called, the phytonutrient called glucoraphanin. Now, glucoraphanin, you can cook it out, you can lose it. It may not be in the same quantities depending on where your broccoli is from or how old your broccoli is or how it's been kept. And glucoraphanin does something really important. In the body, it becomes, converts to sulforaphane. And sulforaphane upregulates a detoxification pathway, our phase 2 detoxification pathway. Super long sciencey way of saying it actually helps the body do ongoing detoxification. So there, sometimes, especially when I'm traveling or if I'm cooking the glucoraphanin out of my broccoli, I may decide and I take a True Broc supplement or I drink my True Broc tea because I know that I can get that glucoraphanin there. And detoxification is so critical for us in today's, environment. So that's just one example.
Okay, excellent. Now I could literally talk to you for another hour, but our time is wrapping to a close, and I know that you've got another appointment to get to, and you're a busy person. But I just wanted to wrap up and clarify one thing. Now, when I said that 90%, I meant, for example, I use coral calcium, but all of the different brands of coral calcium are not created equally, and there's some brands that don't extract and process it correctly. So I'm not saying that coral calcium is not good, but the different brands, you have to be careful where you purchase it.
Yeah. So what I would say is I would love to direct everybody who's listening to a resource that I started 10 years ago for exactly this reason. I had doctors asking me what products to recommend to their patients. I had patients and clients who were going into the store and getting confused. And I used to just spend hours writing out exactly the brand. And then even with that written note, either they would lose it. Remember, this is texting and internet, use the way that we're using it today. But, it was really important for me to have that information. And it's easy. I can confuse Nature's Path with Nature's Valley very easy if I'm in the grocery store.
Right.
So I started my Ashley Koff approved list, which is a nonprofit list. Nobody has ever paid me for it. I say you can't be paid to be AKA it's earned. And I've audited over 50,000 products in both food and dietary supplements and healthy lifestyle accessories. And that's all available for free on my website.
Wow.
And the idea there is that you can go, and it does not have every product. If you see a product that you take that's not on there, reach out to me because either it's not approved and I don't highlight what's not approved, or I haven't reviewed it and I would love to do that. And the thing about supplements is I go 12 degrees deep a lot of times with supplements. I want to know what binders are in there. I want to know if they're non-GMO. I want to know, is the dosage in the finished product the same as the dosage in the original product? All of these things. That's not work that you need to do. You need to just go in and buy it, take it, get healthier so you can go on and be the awesome person that you're intending to be in your profession, which I benefit from, right?
Right.
So I just, offer that as a resource out there, and it's a really important one. You will see brands that have the AK logo on their package. You also see other logos that can be really helpful, but for me, it was a way to, that I've at least audited. Excuse me. So. Yeah.
That is awesome. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there myself and pull the information down, and I'm also going to post it on my Twitter feed where I've got 14,000 followers because this is some information.
And thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, not a problem. how can the listeners get in contact with you? Can you mention your website and other?
Yes, so I hugely love to use social media. So on Facebook at Ashley Koff Approved, on Twitter at Ashley Koff, and then also on my website, Ashley Koff RD, and YouTube and all of these places. And I have so much more information. My goal is to look at the content that's out there and then simplify it so that people can get better nutrition, so that they can get the better health that we all crave.
Okay, great. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fascinating information and very dear to my heart. Thank you for sharing this.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.